Hey, Wellness Speak Live. What's up, everybody? Hey, don't forget, don't listen to me. I'm not a medical professional. Always check with the healthcare professionals. I'm just giving my opinions on things. Okay, hey, today, RIP Carlos. Rest in peace, mi gente, mi amigo, Carlito. I unfortunately buried a friend last week, relatively young too, 65. My good friend Carlos passed away from heart failure, heart disease, and I wanted to do a little, I guess, eulogy to him. Wasn't. Uh, I'm not somebody who was asked to, or speak about him when he passed, as there were other people, I guess, close to him, his family and whatnot, and rightfully so. But Carlos and so I wanted to tell you a little bit about Carlos, and share with you this man's life. And we were close friends, although we weren't friends for a very long time, respectively. But the time that we were friends was really special. Here's to Carlos. Rest in peace, bro. Okay. So Carlos and well, let me say this about Carlos. I'm not getting choked up. Carlos would love. Yeah, I can hear him now. Carlos was awesome, by the way. Anyway, so Carlos lived life on his own terms. Okay, let's just put it that way. And he didn't exactly follow doctors' orders. Didn't lead the healthiest of life. And I want to say that because that might seem like a bad thing or a sad thing. And, yeah, maybe it is a bad thing or sad thing, but I would make the argument it's not a bad one could make the argument. It's not a bad thing or a sad thing. Carlos lived life on his terms, his way. And I think part of that is that very admirable. He certainly is not that he was not the health nut that I was, and him and I would always joke, and he would always tell me, oh, Anthony, I know you're gonna hate me because I had this meal, or I drank this drink or whatever. And I'm like, hey man, you do you, baby. But there's something to be said of living your life on your own terms. Carlos was a 65-year-old adult man. He did things his way. He knew what the ramifications and the repercussions were, and I think there's something poetic about that, something admirable about that. Even though I would not choose many of the things that he did, with his health and things like that, not taking care of himself as well as he could have. And I know this show is about that, but I think this show is also about, hey, you live one life, baby, go for it. And Carlos did. He enjoyed his meals, he enjoyed his drinks, he enjoyed living life the way he wanted to live. And I think that all of us can take something from that, because look, we're not going to live forever. All of us have an expiration date and a number. And, so he passed to 65. Maybe he would have lived to 85. 65 and 85 compared to eternity, not even a blink, quicker than a blink of an eye. So Carlos did it his way. He lived his life the way he wanted to. Like Frank Sinatra said, he did it his way. He did it my way, his way. And so I admire uh, Carlos for that. I'm also hurt because, he, as I see it, he broke a lot of hearts. He could have lived a healthier, longer life, but you know, um, hey, again, he lived it afterburners on, all out. He just did it his way. So there's something to, again, be said about that I do admire. Again, you're an adult. You know what the cost of doing business like that is, and you know what can you say? He's an adult, and I admire him for that. Again, I can't say that I would do that, but then again, it's all relative, right? A lot of people might say, well, Anthony, I don't like what you do. Well, I don't like what you do. We all have to, so be responsible and answer for our own decisions. And he did, and he has. And like I said, it's I there's a part of it I do admire. I want to say too that so we met. Carlos and I have been friends for maybe 10 years or so, which is, like I said, not terribly long. But we met at Bible study, a men's group at our church. uh, about 10 years ago, and we became fast. For all initially, we didn't like each other actually, or he didn't like me because he said I was a loud mouth and all this shit. But the funny thing is, that's who he is. This guy's a Puerto Rican. I'm an Italian. Are you kidding me? So, but we warmed up to each other. He warmed up to me very quickly, and so the funny thing is, him and I are both, or we're both in a Bible study. That right there is a big joke. Uh, I'm sure there was a lot of people at our church that are like, "Oh boy, these guys are in the Bible." Our Bible study was made up of the United Nations. We had him; he's Puerto Rican. I'm Italian. We had an Irish guy. We had a guy from, I believe, Nigeria, an African gentleman. We had a Cuban guy. We had a Korean guy. We had who else do we have in there? We had a good core of like five good guys, and we stayed really close for about 5 years. It was, and then the Bible study ended, and then we kind of went our own ways. But Carlos and I stayed very close, and Carlos and another gentleman, an Irish guy in our group, were very close. And we all kind of touch base every so often. But for 5 years, every Thursday night, we got together, men's Bible study, and I say that loosely because it was more like a frat house, and everybody knew it. But it was a lot of fun, and uh, you know, that's how Carlos and I met. So, and what I loved about him was, in many ways, he was like me. Just that Latin, type of personality. He grew up in the streets of New York City, I believe, Spanish Harlem back in the '60s and '70s, or Washington Heights. And so, although I didn't grow up in New York City, I was a street kid growing up myself. We didn't have country clubs. We didn't go down the shore. My parents didn't have a shore house. We were, you know, on and off welfare of some sort, growing up. So I didn't have a pot to piss in, and so Carlos didn't either. He was one of nine. So Carlos and I took to each other, and anybody who grew up kind of street or kind of poor, I'm gonna probably bond with really quick because I grew up poor. Now I didn't grow up Calcutta, India, poor. Who has in America? But Carlos and I were, yeah, kindred spirits, two street kids. And we weren't in gangs or gang banging, but we grew up in the streets, like you were out all day. God knows where the hell we were, riding around the streets, so hanging out, making friends in the street, and that's not a bad thing necessarily. So that's what Carlos and I had in common, that one fundamental thing. And immigrants, my parents, my family are immigrants from Italy. His family immigrants from Puerto Rico. So and Carlos would always get a kick out of me speaking Spanish because I like to brag that yo hablo español, pero no perfecto. But the way when I speak Spanish, it sounds like I'm Spanish. I'm not like one of these freaking white people are like hola que tal, like ugh. So Carlos used to always laugh because I would get myself into deep water because I would meet Spanish women or go to a restaurant, whatever, and order in Spanish, say hello in Spanish, but I'm not from a Spanish speaking country like Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, or whatever. So I back then I would have my limits, and then they would show because people would be like, "Wait a second, you're not Spanish, or you're not Latino." So he would laugh because then he would have to step in and like help translate for me. But I was a quick study. But Carlos used to get a kick out of me not giving a fuck. Like I would always go for it no matter what. I don't care if I fail in public. I'd just be like, no problema, sí, mira, ayúdame. So he would love that I was kind of repping for Puerto Rico. I dropped my pen. Hold on. So yeah, so I like to have the pen in my hand, tactile. But yeah, so Carlos and I kind of bonded over that Latino culture thing. Italians are Latin based culture, and so is Puerto Ricanos. And so yeah, we became fast friends. And our Bible study group used to go do cigar runs into Pennsylvania. Believe it or not, that was our Bible study. But we became really good friends, and we would enjoy going out to dinner together. And oftentimes, we would just hang out one on one, and we had a lot of heartfelt conversations. And again, this is a guy that I didn't grow up with. We weren't like best friends, but every time we got together, Carlos and I, it was like just click gel, And again, he was older than me, but he respected me, and I respected him, and uh, just a sweet guy. He didn't he was a serial entrepreneur, had a lot of success, a lot of failures, and I appreciate that about Carlos too. He he never um he never bitched and whined and complained like, "Oh, poor me." Hey, you win some, lose some. He's made a lot of money, lost a lot of money. Uh, you know, a lot of successes and failures in his life, socially, religiously, spiritually, financially, romantically, whatever. But he always smiled, always was in a good mood. You would never know that this guy was put through the ringer a lot of times from his own two hands, but just always in a good mood. And even on his deathbed, and I was with him on his deathbed a week before he passed at Columbia Presbyterian, New York City, and it was bad. Like it wasn't look, it was over. I think he knew it, but smiling, joking with the nurses, flirting, and uh, yeah, it was a good hour and a half that we spent together before he passed. I didn't think he was going to pass. I thought, maybe, he can get this heart operation. He had a lot of, ancillary problems going on, not just a bad heart, but he had other health issues. And so basically he didn't qualify for heart transplant or other heart cures or operations. So it's kind of hospice almost, and I think he knew that. I thought there might be an option that maybe he wouldn't make it, but I thought, nah, I think he'll make it. He was such in a good mood. Like that was the great thing about Carlos. Always a good mood. And it makes me laugh, or I get pissed off when you see people in a bad mood. It's like, what are you in a bad mood for? Here's Carlos. It's over. It's done. He's gonna die. And laughing, joking, like we all should take a lesson from that. What are you upset about? Shut the fuck up. Like just be happy. Carlos was happy to the end, and that was one of his superpowers. Always in a good mood. I've never seen the man in not say he didn't get angry or like that, but always in a good mood, and um, so what I was gonna say is, yeah. So our relationship was relatively short, but like I said, when we got together, like I said, we weren't terribly close so far as like the cadence and the amount of time we spent together. But when we did hang out, whatever, once a month, it was like just boom, magic. Really, really sweet man. Some of our favorite places we used to love to go eat together. Panera Bread. There's a pizzeria we used to love to go to in Englewood, New Jersey, called Aum Pizzeria. One of the best pizzerias. Period. What else do we like to do? We go to diners. We would smoke cigars at my house. That was great, and he leaves a lot of joy, a lot of love. Even his photo at his wake was him just with a big smile. And you don't really see a lot of photos like that. It was just like he was like happy. And uh, I don't know. I don't know what happens after we die. I don't know. I know people who have died and come back to life, for a few minutes. And I've heard people say, "Yeah, I saw Jesus, or I saw Allah, or I saw Buddha, or I saw Krishna." And then I know people who died and come back and they said, "I didn't see anything." So I don't know what happens after we die, but I'd like to think that he is in peace and he's happy. I hope that happiness continues. He brought a lot of joy to a lot of people's lives, and just yeah, somebody that can light up a room, just a smooth talker, sweet guy, kind of the life of the party, knows how to schmooze. And I'm kind of like that too. So, we definitely had a lot of fun spending time with each other over the years. And it just sucks because, you know, again, he could have made different decisions and, he would be alive today. But, I respect that. Like I said, that's his life, and he lived it the way he wanted to live it. And he enjoyed it too, by the way. It wasn't like the decisions he made was torturing him. You know what I mean? He wanted to drink what he wanted to drink. He wanted to eat what he wanted to eat. He didn't want to follow the doctor's orders all that much, but he was always in a good mood. He lived his life, so I'm happy for him that he got to live the way he wanted to. Sucks to be sick and you know, sucks to die, but we're all going to die. And his life is a reminder of that. And his life is a reminder of live, smile, be happy to the end, joy, be happy. I had a great time seeing him at Columbia Presbyterian. We were laughing. He's like, go downstairs and get me a sandwich from Starbucks. I'm like, oh man, I will slap the shit out of you. Okay. Watch your goddamn mouth. Like, so we were just laughing, like, I gave him a hug, he had all the wires on him. But I mean, it was just a lot of fun. And I went down there and I got the sandwich for him, and I saw how much he enjoyed that sandwich from Starbucks. And I've learned a lot. I've been to maybe 40 something funerals in my life. I'm 50. So shoot, that's almost once a year, every year of my life almost. And we just learned to it's all gonna end, so live your life. And it sucks because yes, you leave loved ones behind but him, me, you, we all have to go. You're all gonna whenever you go, whether you live to 65 or 165, you're gonna break hearts. You know what I'm saying? Like what? So, he lived his life and he raised a beautiful child to a young adult. I'll leave it at that. And this young adult child of his is an amazing person, and that's partly due to him, of course, and partly due to the mother and the family. But so he has lived on by someone, and this person, his child, a young adult, is an amazing person. But even if he didn't have a child, he left an indelible mark, a stamp on my heart, my mind, my soul. Like when I think of him, I smile. I don't even feel sad. I mean, yeah, obviously there's a sadness to it, but yeah, more often than not, I smile. And I can't say that a lot about a lot of people. Like he lived life. And that's the message I want to send to you, and that's the message I want to absorb for myself. Like you know, just live life and, just know what you're signing up for. And if you're down with that, cool. Like, hey, you like to smoke cigars or you like to drink whatever drink or you like not taking care of yourself, that's okay. Like just understand, like you're raising odds for stuff, right? And if you're okay with it, I'm okay with it. And I mean that sincerely, So, um, and none of us are perfect. None of us live on celery and water, anyways. You know what I mean? So it's kind of relative, and I really respect him for living his life. He led a happy life that I knew him like that to be. He brought a lot of joy to my life, and he'll continue to bring a lot of joy to my life. Every time I think of him, I smile. I'm talking about him now, and I smile. And through the funerals that I've been through in my life, I've learned it's you're really yeah, like again, I get it. Believe me, I've been to a ton of funerals. They're sad, but there's also you celebrate someone's life, and that's a choice. And so as I've gotten older, I see funerals of as yeah, sad, 20% sad, 80% celebrate that life. Man, wow, he led. I'm glad I met him, and I hope to see him again. So that's it. I just wanted to share that with you, the viewer, about my good friend Carlito. He used to say, "Well, what happened was," I go, "Carlos, what happened?" He goes, "What happened?" But he was a piss, man. He was a piss. And anyway, so that's that. And I look forward to seeing him someday in the light. And so, anyways, live, love, enjoy, be in the moment, put the phone down, absorb the moments, laugh. Don't take most stuff serious, uh, just enjoy, and enjoy every day. Um, work hard, pay your bills, blah, 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 but don't sweat it. Enjoy. Thank God, what you have, and enjoy that meal, enjoy that cup of coffee or whatever. And so that's what I gleaned from Carlos's life. It was a life full of a lot of joy, and he brought a lot of joy. So thank you, Carlos. Love you, brother. And I'm signing off, everyone. Okay. Thank you. Hey, tell that person you love that you love him. Give him a hug, him or her. That's what life's about, buddy. I'm out of here. Thank you, Carlito. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Adios.